Vance Wahlberg, who was a high school coach and a West coach, who's now an assistant at UMass. Brilliant basketball mind. I need to get together with Vance and talk some more basketball. But I'd love to sit down with Mark Few, the coach from Gonzaga. I really loved watching them play. John Beilein from Michigan is a great, great coach. High school, junior college, Division III, low Division I. Every place he's won, he's been successful. There's a host of guys that I'd love to sit down and just talk about what they do, in all levels of college basketball. Because there's a lot, for the things that are wrong, something's coming out on one of the schools, that there's an SAT allegation, that stuff goes on. We stay clear of those people. I don't want to sit down and listen to somebody talk who I think part of his success could be bending rules. I'm more interested in a person who just really is a purist about the sport, and the way the players look on the floor, the way they play, all those things reflect positively. Because I want the kids, I want my kids when they play, I want people to dislike us because they're the enemy. But after we finish playing, I want them to say, wow, those kids, they don't talk to the opponent. There's no, they don't talk to the referees. They run in and out. There's no, if I say something to somebody on the bench, there is no, nobody talking under their breath. There's nobody hunching their shoulders. It doesn't exist because that's the way we do things. And I want somebody to look at that and say, wow, they were a good team, but I like the way they carry themselves, the way they're dressed in their school uniforms, which is only a golf shirt and khakis. But, they're all dressed the same. They carry themselves well.
It's funny. That's I think the hallmark of our friendship is that I have the same values at the Boys and Girls Club. We're
doing this in a world where we're trying to keep this going, and the kids right now, their pants are falling off them, and their heroes right now, the NBA players, look like Samoan warriors with the amount of body art that they have right now. Yet I don't want a kid in high school to be getting a tattoo because, as I said the other day, how about you get a tattoo that ultimately will be deemed inappropriate, and you're going to have children someday, and you're trying to give them advice on things, and you're either getting these tattoos removed, or there seems to be some type of double standard in your relationship with your own children.
Coach, another thing too is you're in a situation where you've had tons of opportunities to coach at both the college and pro level. We're talking big bucks here. It's some funny that we all try to figure ourselves out, and I try to figure myself out every day. But what keeps you here at St. Anthony's in lieu of some people might perceive them as more prestigious opportunities at the college and pro? Because you've obviously made a conscious decision that this is what means the most to you, to be in a situation where you are needed and making a difference.
Yeah, well, I think, my view is the same view as Coach O'Connor, Coach Askeles, Jack Curran. I think Morgan Wooten made it very easy for everybody who's a high school coach to be a high school coach for as long as you want to be, and never have anyone look and say, oh, he's only a high school coach. I have no problem going to a clinic, getting up and speaking at a clinic with whoever happens to be on the thing, because what we do is so much coaching and molding and tweaking, because what we get is imperfect. It's a piece of clay or it's a sponge, and you're either trying to take that piece of clay and form it into something, or you're trying to get this sponge to soak up as much as you can. So the things we do are great, but it's always the kid. My wife always says, it's the time I see a kid. And he knows this because there's been a million times over the years, there's been someone, and I'm always saying to my wife, now, everybody, I was going to stop coaching at 900 wins. Now that was almost 60 wins ago. And I was saying to myself, what was I thinking about? I love what I'm doing. So now somebody says to you, oh, you're going to stop at 1,000. So I'm saying, no, that's only 43 more games. I want to coach longer than that. And it usually is a kid. So our freshman class, we about 4 or 5 kids in the freshman class. We think they're starting to act like we expect them to act. But usually the thing is, it's the 8th graders. So there's a kid that Gary has had the boys club named Hallis. Hallis comes to the gym now, and he's coming down the gym, and he reminds me of Donald Copeland. And that's the worst that can happen for me, because then you can just plug 4 more years right on. You know, I could sign the 4-year contract, and so it's Hallis, and then there's a kid up in the northern part of the city named Johnny Rodriguez. So my daughter taught him in school. The coach calls me up and he says, you have to come up and see Johnny play. He registered the first day at St. Anthony's in February. So this is rare that a kid who can play is already in school. We don't even know he's in school. So I run up to watch him play the other day, and he's a 6'3" guard. He's terrific. And he's so excited that I came to the game. And the principal and his coach and my daughter, we all talk to him. And it's, yes, sir, yes, coach, no, sir. And it's done. I get in a call with Melissa, and I said, Melissa, I may as well sign up for 4 more years because now I want to see this kid really do well. So I'm starting to organize his summer. I got him in a basketball camp already. I'm going to see if I can help this kid to get a summer job because the family could use this help to help money, at least for his expenses coming into school. And that's why you do it. So Johnny Rodriguez translates into Mike Rosario, translates into Donald Copeland, to David Rivers, to Mandy Johnson. They're, when you're a high school coach, Coach O'Connor, Coach Curran, Coach Askeles, you're their coach for life. If you ask most of the kids that have ever played here, I would say that, they played for a real good college coach, and they talk about playing in high school. The college coach recruited them because they were good enough to fit in with what they do and really didn't know them. Here, they come here, and we just find out all about them. And so we're like involved in, curfew and, make sure they're taking the right classes. I'm retired now, so I'm down lunchtime on a regular basis, terrorizing the freshmen. I just sit there with my arms crossed and I watch the freshmen have lunch. And whatever behavior used to be the behavior of freshman lunch, I'm there now, it's entirely different. Because it's part of this getting them to become the way I want them to be. So it gets to a point where they don't think about, is Mr. Hurley around and I act a certain way? They start to act a certain way because they have just learned that that's the way they should act. And that's the beginning of getting somebody to be really good. The really good players, the Dave Rivers and Kenny Wilsons, guys like that, most of them just came to school, got through the school day somehow, learned the importance of school as they got older, and then raced out the door to get to a gym someplace because they dared, they want to be great.
But honestly, do you worry? Do you ever worry that next 2 or 3 kids might not come? Honestly,
I think what's happened here in city, and he knows this, is there's an evaporation of that the kids that hopped on bikes and went from park to park. Kids used to all get on buses all over the city and meet at a certain place. They can't even do that now. You got to be very careful. The parks used to be sacred. When you went to Audubon Park or you went to play at Pershing Field, you went to certain places, the criminal elements stayed completely out of the park. They were never there. It was just where guys played ball. The street corners were for where criminal activity. And the criminal activity now, because it gives the veil of athletics going on, they've gone into there. So you got card games in the park now. You have drinking in the parks where the kids play. You have drug dealing. So there's an element in the parks now. And when that's going on, then it's not safe because once there's drug dealing, there's going to be weapons. And if there's juveniles involved, there can be some retaliation, gunfire. So the park, which used to be the refuge, is no longer there when the weather's nice. And that used to be, in the city, when it'd be a great summer league game, everybody used to, you can remember going to Audubon Park when you were a kid. Thousands of people would go to Audubon Park and you'd see Al Attles play. You'd see Cleo Hill play. Dave Bing would come up during the summer and play.
Metropolitan area, people would come in from New York.
Guys
to go to
everywhere,
Park.
and you'd go up there and be thousands of people sitting there, place going crazy. Games would end, the lights would go out immediately in Audubon Park, and everybody would walk away, and no matter where you were walking, you would hear people talking about the games that were played that night. It's the games that the kids play now, like I said about Bobby and those kids, they'd go to the park and get a reputation in the city. The kids leave the cities now to go play age group basketball all the time. So they don't play up. They don't develop a reputation home and build it out. They could be, the #1 rated 6th grader in the country. What does that mean? Right. It just means that kid is never going to live up to that billing because how do you hold on to that for the next 10 years or whatever it is? Yeah, it's troubled times. And I think old school, the way things were done, our sport was great when the kids stayed close to home. They went out and tested the waters a little bit to see how good they were, came right back home